Thank you for your interest in the Energy Data Portal from CenterPoint Energy. This is a recording of a live demonstration occurring on September 25th, 2019. If you have questions or need further assistance with using the Energy Data Portal, please see the instructions within this video or email energydataportal@centerpointenergy.com. Thank you and enjoy the video.
Here is our agenda for today. We may not take up the whole hour, especially depending on how many questions we have, but I'm going to give you an overview of the Energy Data Portal, including a laundry list of its features. Then we're going to look at those features with a live demonstration of the portal. And then we'll take some time to show you how you can get started with the Energy Data Portal yourself using your own CenterPoint Energy account. And then at the end, we'll go over some user resources and help and have Q&A. So the Energy Data Portal overview. The Energy Data Portal is a tool that CenterPoint Energy built to help our customers more easily access their energy use and benchmark their buildings with Energy Star Portfolio Manager. This tool is available to all of our commercial and multifamily customers in Minnesota, and it was made available earlier this year in about March of this year. So it's a relatively new tool, and we're excited to start getting the word out about it. The link to the tool is here. You don't need to write that down. It's available in a lot of other places, but it's easy to remember. It's centerpointenergy.com/energy data portal. And we also have more information, including a fact sheet and an FAQ available on the CenterPoint Energy website. This PowerPoint and link will be available afterwards. We can send out these resources. So this graphic here shows the reason we built the Energy Data Portal. And as I mentioned before, the purpose of the tool is to help our customers access their building's energy use more easily. And we really built it to solve a few problems with our old process of customers trying to access their building's energy use data. So under the old process, it was only possible to access individual metered data. There was no way to access aggregated data for an entire building. So you can imagine an apartment building with 100 units in it that each have their own meter. If you wanted to know the energy use of that building, you would need to get each of those meters individual energy use. So that would be 100 data sets of energy use, and you can see how that would quickly become problematic. On top of that, if in your building you had any tenants, such as that apartment building, and they were the CenterPoint Energy customers, our privacy rules require that the data requester obtain customer consent from each of those individuals. And so you can see how that would also be very onerous. And finally, under the old process, we had no way of sending this data to Energy Star Portfolio Manager if you were interested in doing the energy benchmarking with Portfolio Manager. So if you wanted to get your data into Portfolio Manager, you either had to manually upload it or manually enter it or upload it, each of those individual files into Portfolio Manager. So it was a lot of work, especially in that case of a 100-unit apartment building. But even if it's just one building or an entire portfolio of buildings for, say, a hospital system, that's a lot of work to do. So we built this tool to solve those problems, and what the Energy Data Portal does is it now is able to produce whole building data aggregated from meters. So with that 100-unit apartment building, the tool can just take all of those meters data and crunch them into one single data set so that you get one file that represents the entire building's energy use. On top of that, through this project, we developed a new privacy standard for aggregate data. So we now have a policy where consent is needed only where the aggregate data set does not meet certain requirements. And quickly, those requirements are there need to be at least 4 meters in the data set, and not one of them can make up more than 50% of the total energy use. And that, especially for those apartment buildings, that really is a lot, that covers a lot of the building. So we're able to release the data for those buildings without obtaining individual customer consent. And finally, the tool does have automated transfer to portfolio manager. So the data will be sent automatically each month to portfolio manager. So you can, if you're benchmarking your buildings, instead of updating your data each month or each year, you're able to just set it and forget it. And then on top of all of these items, what the tool does is provide, especially for commercial customers who have a lot of accounts with CenterPoint Energy, the tool just provides a more easy way to access all of your energy use data in one place versus our other online platforms. And we'll be focusing on that in the demonstration. So here's a list of the features that I'll be showing you in the tool. Again, accessing all of your properties and individual accounts in one place. That's a big benefit and feature of the tool. The tool offers ways to customize your grouping of meters, so you can kind of slice and dice your meters however you'd like. So you can view combined energy use for, say, your entire portfolio. You want to know across your enterprise how much energy use are you using. You can combine all of your accounts into one data set. Or you can combine different regions or different campuses or different buildings. You can slice and dice it how you want. And then the portal allows you to, again, request data for your entire building. So for any apartment managers with individually metered residents, or for, say, commercial real estate where you have commercial tenants, you can request data for your entire building, even if it's your tenants who are paying their CenterPoint Energy bills. The tool allows you to export data to a spreadsheet, which is a pretty basic feature, but something that's pretty useful for any kind of analysis. And again, the data updates automatically each month as soon as the new data is available from our system, and that's actually usually before you even receive your CenterPoint Energy bill. And the tool also, and I'll show you these, has built-in tools for analysis of your data. So there's different comparison tools, and you can look at heat maps of your energy use, that visualize where, when and where you are using the most energy. And again, the tool has that automatic transfer of energy use data to Energy Star Portfolio Manager. Okay, so we'll jump into the demonstration. I'll walk through some how to use Energy Data Portal for a few different scenarios. So we'll look at a simple building that just has a single meter. We'll look at a multi-meter building. We'll look at if you're an entity that has a large portfolio of buildings, and then finally any tenant-occupied buildings where the tenant pays the energy bill. Will request whole building data for that. And then after working within the CenterPoint tool, I'll be showing you how to connect to Energy Star Portfolio Manager and touch on how you might link to other tools such as B3 benchmarking. So with that, I'm going to jump into the tool itself. The tool is available at www.centerpointenergy.com/energy data portal. There we go. Once you're at the site, I want to point out that we do have our user guide right on the site. That's, as you're getting started with this, definitely follow the user guide. It's a PDF. Oh, I'm seeing that I'm not showing you the screen. I apologize about that. Let me see what's going on here. Can everyone see that now? Yes, I'm getting a thumbs up. Okay. So we're at the site energy data, www.centerpointenergy/energy data portal. I was showing you that upon going to the site, there is a user guide available, and the user guide is a great way to get started. It'll walk you through step-by-step all the things that you need to do for setting up your accounts in the Energy Data Portal and linking them to Portfolio Manager. What you need in order to register for the portal is your CenterPoint Energy bills. So the first step is to get your CenterPoint Energy bills, and you're going to be using the information on the bills to authenticate your accounts in the tool. So what you need from your bill is shown in the user guide, but what you need is your street number. So for this one, we're going to be doing an example school. Their street is 101 School Street, and so we're going to enter just the street number from that, just the number from that street address. The customer name is Example School. And then you enter your first name as the user. So, and your last name. And then you enter the account number from your bill without the dash or number after the dash. So in this case, the school's account number is 99901. You put in your email address, choose your password, and pick a secret question, accept the terms and conditions, and create an account. I've already done this, so I'm just going to log in to my demo account here. So upon logging in, you will see this graph here, and what you'll want to check is your list of accounts that are available. So the tool will automatically link any of your accounts that are under the same customer number as the account that you initially registered with. If your accounts are set up nice and cleanly in the CenterPoint system, you may see all of your accounts here already. Sometimes what we see with customers with large portfolios of buildings is that they have a couple, 2, 3, 4 different customer numbers for, maybe different branches or things like that. So you'll just want to check that which accounts are missing from this list for the accounts that you want to have linked here. And if you don't see one, you're able to authenticate additional accounts by clicking on this Authenticate Now button. And with the Authenticate Now button, it'll just ask you for those pieces of information from your bill again. So the name on the account, the street number, and the account number again. And entering that here will enable you to link additional accounts. From there, I'll give you an overview of the different features that you'll see for each account. So what we're looking at here is the kind of over time bar graph of energy usage. Each of these bars represents one billing cycle's worth of usage, and you can hover over it and see how much the usage was and when the dates were, and it'll show you the meter number there as well. You can, change the time frame that you're looking at. The tool has data in it going back to April 2016. So we have over 3 years worth of data in there now. And you can also look in this view at your energy cost. Now the cost there's a few caveats with the cost. One is that we are not able to include taxes in the cost in this tool. So the cost data that you see here may not match your bill exactly if you are a customer that pays any taxes, which is most of our customers. But entities like schools that are tax exempt, this data should actually match the bill. And so you can, again, toggle between cost and consumption. Another feature here is that you can do different comparisons. So you can look at last year's high temperature, which isn't showing up there, the low temperature. You can do different comparisons. You can do a comparison with last year's bill. So you can see last year's bill is showing up there. You can see how you compared to last year, which is a nice tool. See if you have any progress in an easy visual way. So there's different features that you can do in this view. That's the charts view. Under the data view, there's another built-in analysis feature where you can look at, this is the heat map that I was talking about. So you can see the red is high consumption and the blue is lower consumption, and you can kind of see when you have had the highest consumption. It can easily point out to times that you might want to take a closer look at. Additionally, from here, you're able to download the data. So you click on that download button, and in the download usage data, you're able to export this data to a CSV file. You can pick which fields you want and change the order of them. So if you wanted the name as the first column, you could do that. And you can choose how to sort it and then choose the time period that you want the data for. There's a lot of nice reporting features here. And then you simply click download, and it will pop out a CSV file of the usage. There it is. Okay. Oh. Okay. So that is an overview of the features that you can see on an individual account level. Now, that would be something that you could do right out of the gate for, it would show you for your buildings that have, one account at them. You don't really need to do anything else. But let's say you have a building that has multiple meters at it, and you want to understand the building's entire energy use. So the feature that helps you do that is the meter group feature. So to create a meter group, you click on select property and then go to the bottom and say add new. From there, you can select the meters that you want to group. So in this case, we're going to do building with 2 meters, and it's going to be this account 9901 and 9902. And then you click save. So what that does is it groups the meters together, and it'll stack their usage in this graph here. So you can see the light blue at the bottom is the test meter 005, and the dark blue at the top is the other test meter, and it'll give you the total usage as well as the individual usage. Say we forgot a meter, you can go back and edit it and add add additional meters at any time. And that must be really small usage there. Oh. No. So that's a way, and then you can do all of those features, like I said, with the heat map, with that new meter group. And then if you want to download the data set, you can download all of it at one time, for all of those meters at one time. Go back to the chart. Okay. The meter grouping can be really useful if you want to have an easy way to download your entire portfolio of data. So in that case, you would just do, again, add new meter group and select all of your accounts. And there you can see, first of all, it's kind of cool, you can see what your biggest user is, but you can see all of the data in one place. And then, again, if you wanted to do that export of data, that would be an easy way for you to just quick log into this tool and go to the data, go to your all accounts property, go to the download button and export all of your data at one time. And then you can use this export file to do what you'd like with it. So that is meter group. Now we're going to go on to a scenario where you have tenants in the building that have that pay their own CenterPoint Energy bill. So you are not able to access their individual account information within this tool because you don't know their account number and you don't know their name, and CenterPoint Energy will not give you other customers' energy use data without their permission. So in that case, we have a way to request the whole building data. The way that you do that is we have a button here that says Request Whole Building Data. You click on Initiate Request, and this will bring up a list of all of the different service addresses at your within your portfolio. So you would find the service addresses that contain the tenant meters. In this case, it's this example apartment building at 123 Apartment Lane. So this is going to be example apartment building, whole building data. We're going to click Add. You have to be the building owner or property manager with an authenticated account in order to receive this whole building data. We have other rules for third-party service providers or other people who want to request the whole building data. But I think most users in this group will be property owners or building owners or property managers. So once you select the addresses that comprise the building that you're interested in, you click Submit. That will bring up a list of all of the meters that are at the building. You can see here there's the house meter, which is the commercial meter that has been authenticated. And then below that, there's all the individual tenant units. And this screen gives you a chance to confirm that all meters that are expected are contained in the data set that you're requesting. If it's not, you can go back and add an additional address or add an additional account if you need to. But in this case, all of the meters that we want are there, and we're going to click Submit. What the tool is doing now is it's taking all of these individual meters and it's taking all of their usage and combining it to a single data set. It's calendarizing the data so that it's putting it all on a standard time frame from the first of the month to the last day of the month. And then it's evaluating whether the data set meets our privacy standards that I mentioned before. If the data meets the privacy standards, then it will be, the data will be displayed right in the tool. And so this is the aggregated data energy use of the entire building. In this case, it met our privacy standards and we can release the data to the user right here in the tool. If it did not meet our data privacy standards, we are able to, you are able to request that permission right through the tool, and I will show you what that looks like. We just have some screenshots of it because it's a little, it takes a little bit of time to fill out the field, so it's a little less cumbersome to show you screenshots. So bear with me while I change screens here. One moment. So the tenant consent process, again, I just explained this, but if the tool will let you know if you need tenant consent. And the process for requesting tenant consent can be completed fully electronically in the Energy Data Portal. If you prefer, you can also print out the paper form to deliver to your tenants. But this is what it will look like if tenant consent is required. It will say access to whole building data requires tenant consent, and then there's a link to request tenant consent. You click on that, it'll pop up a list of the different account holders from whom tenant consent is required, and you just click on that request access button. That brings up a form where you put in the tenant information as well as your information, and what that does is it pre-populates our consent form that is then sent directly to the tenant, to the email that you provide. And then what the tenant has to do after that is simply click on the link in their email and provide their account information on the online form. And once they do that, the tool will record that consent has been received, and it will display the data for you. And it will also let you know when that happens. Okay, so we've covered a few different building scenarios of how you might want to use this tool: the single meter building, the simple case, the multi-meter building where you use the meter group to create a combination of meters for your building, and then the kind of entire portfolio of buildings. So it's an easy way to export all of your data. And then the full apartment building. So those are some different ways that you can use the tool to get different types of buildings data. There's a lot that you can do directly within the tool, but one of the primary reasons that we built this tool is to help people benchmark their buildings. And the most common tool that is used to do the energy benchmarking is Energy Star Portfolio Manager. And so now I will show you how to connect your data in this CenterPoint tool to the data in to your property in Energy Star Portfolio Manager. So within Portfolio Manager, you create your own account, and you're going to go through the process of setting up your properties within Portfolio Manager. I'm not going to go through that here because it's fairly complicated, and Energy Star Portfolio Manager has instructions for how to set up your properties. But once you've done that, there's a couple steps that you need to take in order to be able to share your data with CenterPoint Energy. The first step is to add CenterPoint Energy as a contact. You'll only have to do this once, but it's basically saying that you allow CenterPoint Energy to send and share data with your property. So to do that, you go to the contacts at the top, you click Add Contact, and you can search for CenterPoint Energy. You search, and it's telling me that there's no search because I've already entered CenterPoint Energy, but it would pop up there, and you would click Add. Oh, there it is. No, those are not CenterPoint Energy. It'll only show you new contacts, but you'll have to, and these instructions are detailed in our user guide, but basically you have to make sure that you add CenterPoint Energy as a contact. From there, you're going to have to share each property that you want to exchange data with CenterPoint. You have to share each property. So to do that, you go to the Sharing tab, and you click on Share or Edit Access to a property. You select which properties you want to share with CenterPoint Energy, and we're going to do this demo multifamily building. We want to share it with CenterPoint Energy Web Services, and we want to do personalized sharing and exchange data. And I'm going through this quickly now. You're not going to remember all of this, but all of this information is in our user guide for future reference. So you click Continue, and from there you are going to select Exchange Data and select the appropriate settings for how to exchange data. Again, look at the user guide for exactly how to do this. Then you apply selections and authorize exchange and click Share Properties. So again, in order to share data with CenterPoint Energy, you have to first, and this is a one-time step, add CenterPoint Energy as a contact, and from there, for each building that you want to share CenterPoint to send data to Portfolio Manager, you have to share that individual property in Portfolio Manager. So once you've done that, we go back to the CenterPoint Energy tool, and this is the process for how to send your data to Portfolio Manager. So you're going to click the data that you want to share data with CenterPoint Energy. In this case, we're going to do that building with a few meters. We're going to go to the Property tab, and you simply, where it says Energy Star Portfolio Manager, you click Use Existing Account. It's going to ask for your property ID from Portfolio Manager. So in Portfolio Manager, there is a, on your property, there is a Portfolio Manager building ID. We're going to take that, copy it, and put it back in the CenterPoint Energy tool, and then click Submit. If the property is linked, if you did the steps of sharing correctly, it will show up here. So it asks you to confirm that it's the building that you want to actually send the data to. In this case, we have our demo single account connection building. that is the building we want, we're gonna click yes. There are those 4 meters at the building. And so here it's just asking you to confirm this, and what the system will do is it will send, once you click submit, it will send each of these meter data to the building, the property that you specified in the earlier step, and it will create a new meter and portfolio manager for each of those buildings, or excuse me, each of those meters shown here. And it's going to think for a while here as it's sending the data over to Portfolio Manager. This step sometimes takes a little bit. You have to be patient. Even though it looks like it might be freezing, it's really just thinking and crunching those numbers. And when it refreshes in a moment, I'll show you where to confirm that the data was sent in Portfolio Managers. While it's doing that, I'm just going to touch quickly on how this tool, if you are using other benchmarking or energy use software, how this might help you get data into the other systems besides Energy Star Portfolio Manager. So one common system is B3 benchmarking. B3 benchmarking has an Energy Star connection wizard, and this basically allows you to, once your data is in Energy Star Portfolio Manager, you can subsequently send it to B3 benchmarking through this Energy Star connection wizard. So the process flow in this case would go, you set up your buildings in the CenterPoint Energy data portal. You send the information to Energy Star Portfolio Manager, and then you link the Portfolio Manager buildings to your buildings in B3 benchmarking following these steps. So it would, take a little bit of upfront setup, but once you get all of those connections established, you should be able to, again, set it and forget it. Your data would flow from CenterPoint Energy to Portfolio Manager into B3 every month without you having to touch it. So it's worth considering if you want to make that investment. If you are having to benchmark using B3, it could save a lot of time on an ongoing basis. So it looks like going back to getting the data into Portfolio Manager, the CenterPoint Energy data portal did its thing. It has successfully transferred the data, and now if we go to the single account, the building where we sent the data, you can see that it has created 4 different meters with the natural gas use at that building for each of those meters, and it's displaying here. I'll point out, because this is somewhat common, sometimes at CenterPoint Energy we have rebilling situations where there are multiple times where you're billed for the same usage period due to a meter read estimation or some kind of correction. Our tool will send over 2 rows of data for that same usage period. Energy Star Portfolio Manager doesn't like that per se because it gives you this warning. However, it will accept it. So if you ever see this warning, you can just ignore it basically because it's intended. So with that kind of concludes our live demonstration. I wanted to move on to going back and talking about what are the steps that you can take to get started doing this energy benchmarking yourself. And let me get back to the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so here's the link for the data portal. I've said this a number of times before, but I'm going to say it again. Look at the user guide. There's a lot of great instructions in there that will walk you through how to set up all of your buildings in Portfolio Manager, or excuse me, in the CenterPoint Energy tool, and then subsequently send the data to Portfolio Manager. Again, the user guide is available. It's available within the tool itself in a couple different places. So how to get started? The best thing that you can do, especially if you have a lot of buildings that you want to benchmark, is to gather all of your energy bills in one place. That's going to help you get organized from the very beginning. And then you're also going to need that energy bill to get registered in the tool and make sure all of your accounts are available for linking. And again, in that user guide, there's a visual of where you find the information on your bill. Another tip is, especially for organizations that have a large portfolio of buildings, is organization is key. It's going to be a lot easier to set up a lot of your accounts if you get organized from the start. So you may want to make a spreadsheet that lists the account numbers, the name on the account, the service address. Those are the things that you're going to need to authenticate those accounts within the CenterPoint tool. The meter number is also useful. And then if you're wanting to set up your buildings in Portfolio Manager, it's good to kind of map your CenterPoint Energy accounts to your property IDs in Portfolio Manager. And I have a template for this kind of organization system. It's pretty straightforward, but that template is available from Energy Data Portal at centerpointenergy.com. If you just email that, I can send a template out. So I kind of mentioned that you can link additional accounts if they're not all showing up in the CenterPoint Energy system when you initially register. A tip, especially if you're working with a lot of accounts, is if you want to check that you have all of the accounts in your system, if they're already linked, I'll just show this quickly. A good tip is to expand this list, and you can use the Find feature by clicking Control F in your browser. You can use the Find features to see if an account is there already. If you just type in that account number, it'll show you if it's there or not, and that's a good way, if you're working with a lot of data, to check that an account is there or not. And to just find it if you want to bring it up in your long list. That's just a tip. Going back to the PowerPoint. So some resources. Oh, again, that user guide is your Bible. There's some FAQs that are worth taking a look at on the CenterPoint Energy website. And you should also be aware that within the tool, there are instructions directly in there that'll help guide you through what you need to do. I would just recommend that sometimes it's easy to, fly through screens and not pay attention to the words on the screen, but if you're getting stuck, just see if there's information within the text that's displaying that might help you. And for example, a lot of people, when they enter their accounts, they enter the full account with the dash and number after the dash, but the tool only accepts the numbers before the dash, and that's displayed here. So there's a lot of nuggets within the tool that'll kind of guide you to the right place. And then we do have help available. We have a dedicated email address for user support. And from there, the email address is energydataportal@centerpointenergy.com. And you can email that at any time with questions or to request support. We want to help get you through the tool. We're trying to make it as easy as possible, but you know, the nature of energy benchmarking is that it's complicated. It doesn't always make sense. So we want to have support available if you do run into any issues.
That concludes the live demonstration of the Energy Data Portal. On the screen here, you see the email address for user support, as well as some useful links as you start your process of using the Energy Data Portal and benchmarking your buildings with other tools.